First of all, it's really nice to have these opportunities to chat with you. And my name is MSWan. You can call me Swan.
Swan.
Yes,
okay.
like the goose, swan.
Oh, like swan. Okay,
yeah,
I love
swan.
it. Okay.
Yes, and I'm also artist, and I'm a podcast host. And my audience, they are art lover, and they are very sensitive to self-aware.
Okay.
This is what my podcast do. And this time, I want our conversation to make them feel some inner pull. I want to attract them to come here.
Okay.
And see this exhibition, not just listen to the contents. So first of all, I'm very interested in why you focus the story on whale. Why this species?
This is not the first work I do about whales. I have been in dialogue and collaborating with biologists and marine mammal scientists for over 3 years. They are scientists who are based out of the University of California in Santa Cruz, in California, where I live, study whales in Colombia, where I'm from. For 3 years, we have been in dialogue. I have been able to learn about their studies, their data, the importance of understanding the role of whales in kind of the cycle of life in the ocean. Been able to go in field work to collect data and to observe whales in both California and Colombia. When you see a whale, you really change the way you understand your position in Earth, because they're so big and you feel so small. That you think, maybe humans are not the most important or the biggest and the most intelligent species in the world.
Yes.
Actually, there's these big giants that have been our neighbors in this planet and that have shared this planet with us for so many years that we took them all the way almost to extinction by hunting them, you know. It was their blubber and their oil that fueled, literally, the industrial revolution of humanity. And humans killed so many whales that they were almost extinct. All kinds of whales, not only humpback, but blue whales, fin whales, gray whales, all of them. Now, and actually China signed very early the moratorium on whale hunting. I think China signed it in 1984, if I'm not wrong. And most of the countries have signed them. There's still some countries that haven't, like Norway or Japan. But since that moratorium was signed, since the International Whaling Commission was established and put those rules in place, the whale population jumped back. Yeah. So the story of the relationship of humanity and whales is a very hopeful one, because it goes from almost the extinction by hunting them relentlessly to the recovery of whale populations.
And now we see a hope there.
We see a hope. I think it's very important that as humanity, we can learn and see.
And we really can save them.
We can save them, but also save ourselves, because if the whales are completely extinct, all the chain of relationships that depend on whales will break. Our path to our own human extinction will become faster too. So it's not only about saving the whales, but saving ourselves too. So I think that's why, for me, the case of the whales is a very important one, because it's a hopeful one, and it's a clear testimony that things can change despite the collapse and the climate change that we are in.
Oh, this is a really good point of view, because I didn't think that way. I know they're very poor by hunting, by pollution. How you say it's because the hope. We can see the hope here. And the second question is, why these two?
Throughout my practice as an artist, and by working with communities who are in the front line of environmental justice, resistance and struggles, I've learned that water, animals, plants are not just objects for our consumption and our extraction, but are actually political subjects that feel, that have stories, that have family lineage, that transmit culture throughout their own species. And as humans, we have had interspecies relationship forever, since time immemorial. And so for me, when I use portraiture, I use it to expand the idea that only the human subject can be portrayed. Animals also are political subjects with agency to change the course of event. And so that why is for me portraiture is more attuned to how I relate to the natural world. Normally we use landscapes to represent nature, but landscapes put us as humans outside as like observers of something through this window of the landscape. But the truth is that as humans, we are part of a web of relationships of life. And I think the landscape is a way of perpetuating the colonizer gaze over nature. But when you portray a natural entity like a whale, then you are kind of decolonizing that approach to nature too, because you are elevating and bringing subjecthood to that entity you're relating to through that process of portraiture. And so, you know, for me to put two whales in whole X, they couldn't just be any two whales.
Yeah, they couldn't be just
because then it becomes more like a natural science exhibition, and this is not the intention.
So why? Why
and then
Batman
these
and
two
Aria?
whales, because they tell particular stories that show some of the biggest threats that marine life encounter. Batman, for example, is the big whale over here.
This one, He's older.
He's an older male. He's approximately 45 years old, at least. He used to be a very competitive male, you know, trying to mate with all the females. That's why he's so scarred, because humpback whales bump into each other and fight for that kind of primary position. And now that he's become older, he's more like a grandfather. He's more calm, and he has taken a more of a caretaker role in his community. His role changed. But despite that he's so big and has so many scar tissue, he also carries these invisible wounds.
The
toxins, right? So, tissue samples from his body have shown that he carries at least 108 toxins, from chemicals to plastics to pesticides. So his story allows us to understand that whatever we do on the land ends up in the ocean and produces pollution in the ocean. And that every animal and every mammal, including humans, you know, bioaccumulate their toxins throughout their life. So throughout the story of Batman, we talk about the dangers of pollution, both on land and sea. The fact that every living being ends up bioaccumulating that kind of pollution, both whales and humans' bodies. We know that by microplastics also exist in the human body. And then through the story of Aria, Aria is a smaller whale because she's still growing. She was born in 2022.
3 years old.
Yeah, she's going to turn 4. But she lost her mother when she was 8 months. Humpback whales stay with their mother for the first year of their life because their mother teaches them the migration route, and then they separate. So it's very hard for a whale to survive without their mother.
She's like a little orphan in the ocean.
Her mother, Fran, died from a ship strike. Everyone was very worried if she was going to survive. But she did. And she's
Who took care of her now? Her
Maybe,
cousin?
Who knows? We don't know that. But I don't think so. I like to speculate that was the community.
The community will take care of her.
So, in a sense, both Batman and Aria are survivors. Because though they encountered these obstacles, you know, becoming orphan at a very young age or having a very polluted body, they continue to be vital elements and kind of participants of the communal life of whales. And I think that's also a story of hope. Despite the obstacles, despite the loss of your health because your body is polluted, despite the loss of the mother or the maternal lineage, you can continue to live, you know. If you live in community, there's a possibility for you to find your role in this world.
Because the theme you want to tell is a story about hope, so you choose two whales that they're survivor and they're still living right now in the ocean.
Correct, yeah. The last time Batman was sighted was in February this year. And the last time Aria was sighted was in December last year, so a few months ago. So they're very much active and, you know, participating of this ancestral migration routes that they engage in.
Okay, I believe in your study of whale, or your research, during the research, you must see many, many very cruel things happen to them. Do you have any emotionally breakdown moment when you see the very cruel story or things happen to them?
No, I'm a very hopeful person. I feel as an artist, it's important because it informs the work. And I think that's the important thing to focus on, not so much how I feel or what happens to me. I prefer that the audience focuses on those emotions, kind of decisions they made me take.
I see.
In the production of the artwork. However, I think that part of that emotion can be felt a little bit in the light composition and in the sound and in the music of the piece. So I think the music is definitely a part of the work that makes you travel through different emotions. Yeah, I think that some of the hardest things may be entanglements. Whale entanglements are very hard to see because it's very risky and loose and cut the net of a whale because they're so big and any little movement can really hurt you. But in any case, there's people who take the risk and jump into the water and cut those nets and free the whales. So, though they're very cruel stories, there's always the other side of the story. There's a brighter side. And I think for me, the motion of the whales in the space talk about the cycles of life and death. If there's no death, there's no life. It's important that we always see the two sides of the story.
Yes. Why I ask this? Because sometimes I saw some story about whales. Maybe, for example, I just saw an interview in China, and there is a whale trainer in the zoo. She trained the whale in the zoo, and there's a very long interview. I can't even finish watching that video because the story she tell of about the whale. The whale is so lonely, and the whale hurt herself every day, and the whale have so very high intelligence. The whale know everything that she's trapped here, but she is very kind, not hurt any human being. So I'm asking that because as an artist or as a human, sometimes this kind of story is really heartbreaking. But we want to, as artists or as some writer, maybe creating people, we want to write or we want to create a story. We want people to get to see their story, how to deal with this kind of heartbreaking moment.
Well, first, I think this is a very important issue that you raise. And this is the most unjust things that can happen to an animal is to take them out of their natural habitat and put them in a zoo or put them in a SeaWorld park or in this kind of entertainment. Animals are not here to entertain us, especially wild animals. And these big animals that need so much space to live and to be healthy, not only physically, but emotionally. Animals have emotions too. I hope that this exhibition can raise some awareness and make people think twice before they go and support any kind of sea park and zoo and entertainment, because as you say, it's one of the cruelest things that can happen to an animal.
Yes.
That's why also, if you want to see a whale, you can come to MAP and see it in here at its real size. Not engage in those colonial practices that zoos and this kind of, show business are. And you can also support organizations who are already working hard to revert and to demand that these kind of practices stop. So, there's already organizations in China and groups of people demanding for these practices to stop. So if that's something that really affects you, more than letting this bring you down,
do something.
People say, how do you deal with these things? And I think that when I see something that is cruel and that is unjust, I feel angry.
Me too.
I feel so angry.
Yes.
And I think that this anger is a good feeling because rage moves to action.
Yes.
So it's really beautiful because in Latin America, we talk about dignified rage. In Spanish, we say la digna rabia. Digna rabia, dignified rage. So channel your rage to action. Don't let this cruelty depress you, but feed on that rage to go to action. And that's what I do to create artwork too, and to deal with all these injustices that I encounter during research or during field work.
Yes.
Because that's what whales have been doing. Have you seen the orcas that have been toppling all the boats? Gladys, I think her name is Gladys. And people that are even in worse conditions that we are, you know, in a way, we are privileged having the resources, having the space of showing work in this amazing museum. So how I'm not going to use those resources to send messages of hope and calls to action. So use all the resources that you have at hand. Use the privilege that you have to demand for change, or to support people who are doing that job.
This is really inspiring, not only for the creative people, I think for all the audience. Just don't be afraid to look at that things because it's cruel. You need to know, you need to see, and to turn that anger into the fuel, into the power to change it, to change the world and let less and less people to see these kind of things. Right? And I see there a section you did an installation art about the goat nest. And that is a co-creating project. Yes, you did a lot of co-creating projects. And I'm very interested about what kind of a project you decided it to be a co-creating project.
Sometimes the projects show you the way. So it's not that I decide beforehand.
Okay.
In this case, I'm not very familiar with the art scene. I'm not from Shanghai. I'm coming from abroad, trying to bring this message. So for me, it was important to ground the work in the local action that's already happening in Shanghai, and to create the workshop, to offer this collaborative and participative workshop was a way to ground the work here in Shanghai. So ghost nets are fishing nets, industrial fishing nets, very large scale fishing nets that are abandoned at sea and that become a big threat for whales and for other marine life because they get entangled. Sometimes they suffer deep wounds or cuts in their body, and sometimes they die from the entanglement. So there's a lot of local organizations doing recycling of marine waste, including ghost nets. One of them is called Wild Aid. And through one of their partners in Hainan, they donated a number of ghost nets to this project. And then we reached out to another organization called Roots and Shoots. They have been active in Shanghai since 1999, working with students from kindergarten to university age to make them involved in conservation and in humanitarian issues.
Do you give any guideline for them? Oh, okay, what kind of guideline you gave them?
So I came in October last year to see the site and to start these conversations about this collaboration. And so through Roots and Shoots, we did an open call for students where I told them about the exhibition that I was making, about the stories of Aria and Batman, about the threat of ghost nets. A lot of the kids already, because they're involved in environmental issues, knew. So they're already ripe, and they were already interested in the theme. And then I have worked with fishing nets for a long time. So I made a little video where I showed what kind of sculpture I wanted to make by using other recycled objects and tying them into the net. And then I sent this video, like a little guide video to them. And we got a very good response. We had approximately 50 kids participating from ages 6 to 15. Very enthusiastic, very committed to being ocean protectors. And they brought all kinds of materials, and we spent a few hours here in that same place where the nets are exhibited, creating together these sculptures that can raise awareness about our everyday decisions of consumption. Sometimes we want to drink this boba tea, or we want to buy this new clothes, and we don't think a little bit more about the consequences of that decision and about the waste that these things can imply. So that's why we have fabric and textiles and electronic waste and plastic bottles and cans and all sorts of different recycled and salvage materials that the kids brought. And so for me was, the workshop, the collaboration of Wild Aid, the donation of the ghost nets, and then the collaboration with the students who are already active in environmental and conservation issues is a way to ground the exhibition in actions that are already happening in Shanghai, but also to bring the museum into a deeper commitment to these issues. So if you're going to show this kind of work, how are you going to open to your museum so that people of all ages and can also engage in conversation and in action for these issues?
This is the art I really like. I like the art that people can all get involved to it. Not just artists are saying and the people watching and the people don't know what they're saying. I don't like that kind of, I think this is why I like most of your co-creating art, that people all get involved. They know what you're trying to express, what's your emotion by doing these things.
And I think this, as cultural workers, as people who work in the arts, we get pushed and we get into this mindset also because of the commercial aspects of art, that you have to work hard, that your name is the most important thing, that you develop an individual language. And yes, that is important, but that doesn't exclude the possibility of collaboration with people that maybe are not artists or that approach art and creativity from another way. And I think I am willing to take these risks and to open up my process to collaboration and participation because I just feel it makes my practice stronger. When you work together, you just get stronger.
Yes, I totally get it. I get so touched by this. I read there, it has music in this space. Now just they turn it off and there's 22 minutes. You recorded?
No.
You designed it? How the form?
No, this was a collaboration too.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. So the recordings are bioacoustic underwater recordings made by Colombian female scientists in the Pacific coast, Colombian and also United States scientists who have been collecting these recordings for many, many years of this particular gulf in Colombia called the Gulf of Tribuga. This is a very special gulf because it has very little boat traffic. It has some and more boats, but it's relatively calm. So the conditions for conducting these recordings are very good. And they kindly donated to the project recordings of whale songs, of social calls, because whales sing. It's only the male whales that sing.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I don't know that.
The male whales who sing. Very romantic. Some people say, I think there is definitely a mating, maybe use of this song, but there's also not just, but this song carries culture and transmit language and knowledge across the whole sea. So when a whale sings, another whale listens and repeats the song, and then the song starts circulating across the whole ocean. Wow. So over the span of many months, the same song starts circulating. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
So all the whales...
Ocean Taylor Swift.
Kind of. And it's kind of a pop song. Because it's kind of the song of the year. And it circulates. And then every whale adds a little phrase. And then it is a form of cultural...
something. Okay.
There's a form of cultural transmission.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It is, sometimes. And that's part of the human supremacy. We think that we are the only animals that have culture, but that's not true. Anyways, so the music composition has these recordings. It also has motorboat recordings because noise pollution is also a big stress factor for animals in the ocean. And it has shrimp sounds and other fish sounds. And then I collaborated with Colombian musician Santiago Lozano. He's an electronic musician. And so he brings also his own electronic music and also brings some traditional drumming from the Pacific coast of Colombia, these Afro-Colombian drums. And so the music really takes you on a journey with the whales, it kind of goes and dives very deep, then it comes up again, then you hear the drums, then you hear different sounds and electronic music. He designed it in 8 channels. So the music kind of travels across the space and surrounds you too. So it's a very unique experience.
Speaking of this, I want to know, what's your suggestion for the people come here? How you suggest them to watch, like go around, or standing still?
There's no way good or bad. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
However, we have put this very comfortable
cushions, yes,
and you can lay down
and spend like more than 22 minutes. Then you can enjoy the whole song.
Yes. Enjoy. Try to, take a little bit of your day to come to the museum. Slow down, lay down, wait for the whole color kind of cycles to go through. Same as the sound. There's moments in the sound where the subwoofer really makes vibration and you feel the sound in your body. So enjoy that feeling. Let the sound kind of penetrate your body and vibrate with the sound. You can also spend a few minutes here, then go to the main balcony and spend another few minutes there, then go up another level and look down from above into the whales and into the ocean and spend a few minutes there. So you can do it both ways, either stay in one spot or here in the basement and let the whole cycle go through, or you can also experience it from different levels. Yeah. And we created the song in a way that no matter where you start,
we can always hear that.
You can always experience a beautiful part of the song, right? There's no kind of beginning or end because it's a loop. So it's also an invitation for you to really take in the whole installation from different vantage points and take, advantage that the museum offers that through the balconies.
I will definitely come another time when they turn on the music.
Yes, please.
And here and upstairs from every angle to see the whale. So this exhibition called the Salute to the Whales.
No, it's called Salute of the Whales.
That's
because they are saluting each other.
Yes, so I made the mistake in the first place. I think I salute to them, or they salute to me.
But I think
they salute to each other.
But also they salute. They salute
to us.
Yes.
Salute of the whales.
Of the whales, yeah. Okay. So they are first saluting each other, but then
salute to us.
Saluting to us. And that's why, for me, it was important to create the eyes. I don't know if from here you can see the black eye, so that it's kind of looking back at you and saying hi too.
Yes. I just found out when I standing there and just face to, this one is Aria. Yeah, face to her. And it's very magical moment, make you feel very peaceful and actually kind of sadness. It's just me, personal feeling.
Thank you for sharing that with me. I think it's important that all these feelings, it's not good or bad to feel happiness or sadness. I think art that can generate all these different feelings in someone is good. It makes sense. So I feel, when you say this to me, I feel then the artwork is successful, that it kind of triggers different emotions in you.
Yes.
Sadness, it's important to feel sadness and to allow ourselves to feel sadness because there's a lot of things happening in the world right now. And I would be worried if you don't feel sad. That means that your heart is of stone.
Yeah.
And we need to feel sadness to then have the possibility of feeling joy too.
Yes.
Right? But sadness is important. It's important to grieve. We've lost so many things and we keep losing. So it's important to allow ourselves to feel sadness. This is not weak. This is actually makes us stronger.
Yes. Thank you so much. I think my audience will love you so much because my audience, they're very sensitive and we talk about emotions all the time. And I think this kind of this exhibition, they really like to pay a visit. Because people don't care about art, because art is so objective. Sometimes it's object to people, but this kind of art, they touch people's heart, touch people's spirit.
Hopefully.
Yes. Yeah.
I hope that Salute of the Whale resonates with, you know, your audience and with other audiences in Shanghai, I always try to make art that has many different entry points and that resonates with people of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all interests.
Yes.
So hopefully Salute of the Whales does that.
Yes. And now the light turns blue, like we're sitting in the ocean.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Swan.
Swan. Yes.
Yes, Swan. I will never forget that name.
Hope we can meet next time.